Flipping back.
So containers, new ones.
Yeah.
So the great thing about new ones is, A, they are painted, so they're ready to go.
Oh,
they're not rusted.
there you go.
They're
Okay.
not patched, and they're smart. Now, if you think about a commercial application, a lot of the time, if you are customer facing, you need something that looks pretty sparkly.
Yeah.
So that's your option, without a doubt. Okay.
Are they expensive?
Yes,
Okay,
they are.
yeah.
I mean, to give you an idea, a second-hand one, like I bought a 40-foot... so currently at We Will Fix It HQ, we have a 40-foot container. We had a 20. Here you go. This is the classic scenario, isn't it? Ooh, containers are expensive at the moment. I think we paid $6,500 for the 20-foot 6 months ago, maybe a little bit more. Anyway, within 2 months, we'd filled it. I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, you complete fool. Anyway, it turned out that because the supply had, and we got containers that can be shipped as well.
Okay. So you could put them on a truck, you could put them on a boat, etc.
Yes, exactly. So they were still airtight. It's kind of the definitions that they use. And so we sold back our 20-foot container, but because the prices of containers had gone up at the time, we actually got the full $6,500 back, even including all of the logistics of moving it from the supplier.
Wow.
And then we bought a 40-foot container, which, again, we filled in the peak of winter when we... so at that point, we take teams off the road. They're going on holiday. We still want the vans to be able to rotate, so we'll take all the parts out and we'll store them in the container. So, and that was... Actually, I absolutely... Right now, container prices for that 40-foot, which is a really good 40-foot, would be about 12 to 12,500 dirhams for something decent. We got him down quite a way. Just, we're going to buy loads of these, something along those lines. And the fact that he wanted that 20-foot, he obviously had a market for the 20-foot.
Yeah.
So I think we paid $9 in the end, nine and a half, something like that.
Now, quick question: municipality-wise and things, do you need permissions to dump a container in your parking lot?
We actually got the Dubai Investment Park. No, it wasn't Dubai Investment Park. It was the managing agent just changed from our landlord, and they complained. What are you doing parking this in the communal car park? To which I sent him a copy of my contract. I said, no, actually, this is my car park, not yours. So off you go. And that was kind of dealt with. So definitely on a wider perspective for most people, yes, that is a massive, massive problem, which actually is the reason why, for mine, I went custom. Okay,
so this is the pergola we're talking.
Yeah, so I'm in the Arabian Ranches, and
which is housing development, if you're not aware.
Housing development. Now, if you imagine to be able to get a container into a garden, you have no option apart from a massive crane.
Yeah, and you got the truck that's driving in, and you're going to have neighbors complaining.
Yeah, exactly, and you wouldn't get EMAR approval for that.
Yeah.
You get rejected, straight off. So the way that we did it was slightly different, which was I got a custom-made second-hand base. So just the base level, okay?
So what did they do? Just take apart all the rest of the container?
It was a shot container,
okay,
where the base was all right and there was nothing else that was really useful to it. So they sold the rest for scrap, cut off the bottom, and that was the start point.
Oh, that's a neat idea.
Thank you. Then, for all of the rest of the components, it was all componentized. So I wanted just the outer shell without any of the walls in it. I also wanted it higher because the big problem with containers is the height requirements for building or for use generally. So I think it's 7 foot 6 is the standard height. Now, the reality of what people see out and about with containers is that standard 40-foot, 20-foot container. The one you actually want is called a high cube, which is 9'6", somewhere around there, I think. So it gives you that height space, if you were building with it, to use insulation, which you desperately need in this environment.
And so what you basically need insulation anywhere. You need it for the heat and you need it for the cold.
Yeah, you do.
And so if you have a 7-foot ceiling and then you put some insulation in, which means you're going to be putting some wood inside of it to support stuff, you're cutting down your height dramatically.
Yeah. So basically they say once you put insulation into a container, a standard container, you've only got about 7 foot of height left. Well, if you imagine I'm 6'3", somewhere around there. So and I get excited. Can you imagine that moment where I'm really excited and it's just gone, right, I'm headbutting that ceiling. Let's be honest. One minor jump and I'm knocked out. Which it'd be highly entertaining to get on camera, but still, you need to be a little bit careful of that. So high cube is the way. Now, back to my pergola. I want the whole idea of a pergola is to give you that kind of sense of, we're covered, we're protected, but it's still open and available. So I decided that actually a high cube wasn't high enough.
Of course not.
No, obviously. So at that point, I had a chat with my mate, the container guy, and he said, well, you know what? We have all of these as just lengths of material.
Okay.
So therefore, you can go whatever height you want. So I added another foot on a high cube, and took it to about 10 foot. And then I then put back on, one of the things that really gives you the sense of it being a cube are the attachment corner points that you've got all the way around it. There's some technical word, but we don't need to know that. I can't remember. And so I then got those back on and on the end of each of these, but it was all designed to fit through an 80 centimetre gate.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And at that point, because I have proved that it is a non-permanent structure because everything got through that 80-foot gate, I didn't even bother with approvals. Yeah. I made sure that the basics of construction within a development, which are 2 metres from a wall and non-permanent, therefore, are being looked at. Yeah. And they constructed the whole thing in about 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, really quick.
That's impressive.
From delivery. So, over the moon at that. It wasn't even that expensive, to be fair. And I actually managed to sell it for more than I bought it for, which is even better.
How did you deal with electricity and things in it?
I didn't need it.
Okay.
I didn't need it
because it was all open, so you just...
Yeah. Actually, no, I did have electricity. I forgot. So what I actually did in the end was I just needed some lights in it. So I actually just extended the perimeter cabling that I'd used for the perimeter lights in that property, and then just put a spur straight out of one of the lights to give me another 4 lights on each of the pillars, just a downlighter and an uplighter. So
Easy.
Yeah, so I then put kind of a trellis into the back. It was kind of custom made trellis that was there, and it look absolutely utterly stunning. And the other lovely thing about it was that even after 4 years we had it, and it got a bit rusty in places. And we'll talk about the steel that it's made from, and the design of it is supposed to do that bizarrely. But after 4 years, it was literally a sundown job. I got my boys to repaint it in 3 hours, and it was back to brand new. And at that point, as we were about to be leaving, sold it straight off. There it went, and that was that done.